right, well, Man United, they got the job done as you would have expected, the home victory as you predicted. Was it as easy as the scoreline made it out to be?
Should have been six in the first half, 2-0. Only +2 in the goal difference column. Feels like a loss. And even more so because we've lost our lone source of goal scoring, Marcus Rashford. We call Tottenham Harry Kane team. United are a Rashford team when it comes to goal scoring. And we've had a few scares with him this season, and he's come back all right both times. This time I think it looks bad. I mean, the manager said it looks bad. Yeah, it feels like a loss. I have to say.
So what go on now with McTominay? Do you have hope for this guy for his career at Man U? I mean, he's looking in form, another goal for him. And I saw someone say about how McTominay used to play striker for the youth team. Is that an option?
Well, I mean, if you look at a lot of the goals that he scores, it's not necessarily him getting into a good battle with the center back and with a. I mean, he does have a good touch in the box, but most of his goals come from him dashing in from the midfield, where oftentimes it's easy to lose those guys, right? But I mean, playing as a striker in the youth team is a whole different game to play as a striker. I mean, let alone in the Premier League, not just professional level. So, to be honest, no. I mean, I'm glad that he's contributed with his first goal of the season. That was crucial because we deserve to be at least one or two ahead by that point of the game. And ultimately, I think at the end of the season, he's got to go. He'll give us good money because he's homegrown and he wants more playing time, and he's not going to get that, especially with how the manager wants to play. He's come in and done a good job against Brentford and Everton past two games. He's done well. But I mean, if we can get 30, 40 million for him, I think that's the price being quoted by Newcastle. They wanted it last winter, but I'm 100% taking that because we can then take that, and Sabitzer is half of that. Sabitzer, I'll touch on him, but he played a bit more advanced. And this is something you mentioned before. You wanted to see Bruno play deep. He's played deep the past three games. Against Newcastle was a bit of a failure, but the whole team was a bit abject. And that was McTominay playing further up forward. Whereas the past two home games, Sabitzer played up forward as the link up guy behind the striker. And especially this game, Bruno had so much space to pick on a pass. At least three times where he's pinged a very long ball to Anthony, and we were able to get in behind Everton's back line on all occasions. A shame that we couldn't score any of those. But I mean, that is something interesting. I wouldn't want to sacrifice Bruno's creativity in the final third, especially with Eriksen coming back. But I thought it was interesting how the manager thought the same as you. Putting Bruno as the ball handler in the middle third rather than the final third.
Yeah, and I prefer him there actually kind of opposite to what you think. I actually don't like his final third productivity. I find him quite wasteful in the final third, actually.
Well, but I mean, okay, not this season, but he scored what, fifth? He's the first player to, he's one of the quickest players to 100 goal contributions in the league. So
I would say it comes down, I think, to the amount of chances he get. Like if you want to look at his chance conversion,
I
not
mean,
just on goals and but assists as well.
either way, I mean, if you're getting that many goal contributions out of a midfielder, let alone an attacker, I mean, how many other than De Bruyne, how many midfielders can provide that numbers?
I'm
Nobody.
really just looking at the amount of misses he has though. The amount of clear cut misses, the like clear cut opportunities where he just fumbles.
Not many. He might misplace a pass. He might be sometimes a bit extra. He wants to push for things a bit too much. I get that, but he doesn't miss that many clear cut chances. And he okay, everybody's prone to missing clear cut chances. And I think because of his reputation, it just gets blown out of proportion. Either way, we have Ericsson coming back. We have Casemiro coming back. He's probably not going to play there anymore. But again, when everybody comes back, we lose our. And now I'm worried because he's probably going to be out for at least 3 weeks. And for our schedule, that means 9 games.
Yeah, that's very bad for you. How big of a miss was Dokore?
Oh, huge. I mean, I said it. Bruno Fernandes had 10 years to pick out a pass every single time he was on the ball. Second half, they moved. It will be in the middle, a bit better. But in the first half, I mean, the whole team had a field day. Nobody to press. Gray and Sims are not the pressers, right? So it was an easy game. They made it very easy for us, and they also played a very high line that also helped. And I'm taking that from an Everton side who I expected it to be very tough, and combined with that, Seamus Coleman, the most experienced player on the field, with a mistake. So I'll take that. But again, now I'm actually worried.
Yeah, and a side that's coming up trying to chase you for the top 4 spot. Tottenham in a very controversial game against Brighton. What are your thoughts?
I mean, the PJ Moyle already come out and said the Brighton should have been had a penalty. It's just,
It can't keep happening like this.
I mean, what good is that apology? Is that gonna get? Are you gonna go back to that point in the game and replay the last 12 minutes of the game? Even if that were to happen, that's just not right. You know, the momentum, the game, the time. You can't go back and retroactively say, "Oh, we apologize." That's that's like a doctor performing a brain surgery on a patient, and the patient passes away, and the day later, the doctor goes to the patient's family and say, "I apologize, I messed up." No, you cannot do that. Of course, that's different. I mean, that's life and death compared to it's football at the end of the day. But I mean, you just can't, right? And I'll touch on that because that foul was very similar to the one Holding did on Jota, right? I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, you know.
If
So
anything, the holding one was wasn't even close to it. It was like in terms of it was a clearer foul on Mitoma.
right, because Højbjerg was put his feet out, whereas Holding was a bit more of a, you could call it a tangling of
A
the
coming
legs.
together. That's what I
Yeah,
thought it was.
yeah. But I mean, when you're going in, I mean, we'll touch on that later. But I think that probably is a penalty too. But I mean, harsh, unlucky. I'll say that. But just on the game a little bit, I don't know what you thought, but De Zerbi coached a comfortable 3-0 victory for Brighton.
What?
But then the handball, even it touched. There's a graphic that Premier League put out. It's like the ball touches up to the sleeve. I know you guys can't see, but like a normal sleeve of a short sleeve shirt, that's not a handball. And to me, it looked like it touched Matoma's sleeve, right? So that's not a handball. And Danny Welbeck's handball, I mean, that's a foul. And then the penalty, I mean, what can you do against a side that's got two clinical finishers, Harry Kane and Tottenham? Harry Kane is Tottenham, but Harry Kane and Son, their XGs, Harry Kane was 0.07, Son was 0.02. They scored two from 0.09 of combined XG.
Well, that's actually quite interesting. But I was gonna ask you, from a Tottenham perspective, are you worried about this performance, or are you happy you were able to scrape away the win?
At this stage of the season, they're all they need is wins, 3 points in the bag. They don't care about the result, or they only care about the result. They don't care about the performance. They know. I mean, Christian Stellini was brought in by Antonio Conte. How different can he be from Conte, right? The same thing with at Chelsea. You know, Graham Potter leaves, but it's the same coaching staff. How different? I mean, how big of a difference can you really realistically expect? You know, so it's just Tottenham are going to Tottenham. It's what it is. They, unfortunately for me and you, they have the two best strikers in the league, and so long as they have them, they're always going to be in with a shout to win the games.
two best strikers in the league is a stretch, in my opinion. But
I
yes.
said one of the two best. I didn't say two best.
Okay, I just have to clarify that one.
But Harry Kane is the best. Son, one of the best. You have to agree, Harry Kane is the best.
I mean, I still think it's debatable. But you guys let us know what you think. Who is the best striker in the Premier League? Moving on to two sides who don't have a striker at all. Wolves versus Chelsea. Wolves were able to nick it though with the 1-0.
I think Todd Bowley signed Lampard looking at his goals record. I don't think he realized he's retired now. Because I mean Lampard could do a shift right now. I mean, he scored what 206 goals, I think, in the Premier League, or maybe a bit less than that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. Wolves got that wonderful goal from Mateus Nunes, and they were able to sneak out. And like we said about Wolves, they don't create much, but they don't give much away. And that was a case for Chelsea as well.
So what do you think now has to be done? I mean, does Lampard have to go in and play striker or what?
I mean that's what I really think Top Bowley signed him for, because I mean Lampard, he's not a good manager, right? At least not for Chelsea. Maybe he could do a shift at a lower Premier League side, but I mean it just gets me frustrated because okay, Lampard has more pedigree as a player, right? But all this talk about Graham Potter not looking like a Chelsea manager. Okay, I get it. Part of it is down to what he's said and what he's done in the conferences and picking the teams, right? He didn't seem to have a backbone. I get that part. But the part about him, his hair, his style, his outfit is only because Graham Potter's English, right? He's British. And I'm only saying this because when I was watching the game, they were talking about how Frank Lampard already sounds like a Chelsea manager. I get it. But on the pedigree as a manager, Graham Potter has proven a lot more than Lampard has, right? So that talk is only because Graham Potter has no pedigree as a player, and plus he's British, because you have Eric Ten Hag, who's coming from the Netherlands. He's also had nothing as a player. I mean, no offense, but he's not nowhere near the level of Frank Lampard as a player. And the guy rides a bicycle around the city center, and nobody says anything about him. So enough with this Graham Potter nonsense. I mean, the guy, I don't want to beat down on the guy who's already down so much. You know, I think it needs to stop, because Frank Lampard ain't no he's no better as a manager than Potter, really.
That's why I say just the whole thing never made sense from the get-go. Why sack somebody for all this money just to bring in somebody who is not really significantly better or gonna really make a difference? So, anyways, Chelsea continue their slump, and hopefully long may it continue.
I mean, you still want them to. I mean, at this stage, I want Chelsea to win some games.
No, I don't. We gotta play them soon, so I need them to continue this run of form. And once we play them and we beat them, then we can just have them. I don't care after that.
I mean, sure.
But aside that, I do care about their form. Man City, they were able to do the expected and get the comfortable victory against Southampton. But look, on the good note, no clean sheet.
Well, they've just extended the lead in terms of the goal difference by +3, and they were able to close the gap to you by 2 points. And I bring this up because this is eerily similar to 2011, 2012 season. And maybe I'm trying to jinx it. I don't know. I mean, let me know if you want me to stop, because think about it. That season, we were 8 points ahead of City. They also had a game in hand, just like how City have a game in hand now. We played against Everton, a Merseyside team, and we dropped 2 points, 4-4. Arsenal dropped 2 points against a Merseyside team, 2-2. And what else is left? You still have to go to the Etihad. So just like we had to go to the Etihad. And at the end of the day, it came down to goal difference. So,
I want to touch on that a little more later when we actually get into the Arsenal Liverpool match.
oh,
But
I mean, why don't we get into it right now? Because I mean, City, we expected a thrashing. It happened. Move on.
because I
But
was vexed that Suleiman never scored his chance. That's why
that's who he is. I mean, I told you he doesn't have the finishing.
he doesn't have
He
the finishing.
he does not just the finishing, anything in the final third. I mean, he got into good areas, right? I think there was one time he got the better of, I think it was Ake, and he just put in the whole football on the ground and there was nobody to attack it.
Yeah,
That was a decent ball. I'll give him that, but nobody to attack it. Okay, so there's a reason why Southampton are in the bottom.
that they are. And I mean, as we spoke about in the last epi, we were saying there's some players maybe up for potential, up for grabs at Southampton.
And I know it won't be Sulemana that you want right now.
Yeah, with that, hell no, he can stay his ass at Southampton. But let's just get to it. The big one.
Well, I can only start from one place, one question. Does that feel like a loss to you? And I know the answer,
I mean, of course, any drop points at this stage feels like a loss.
but you were 2 goals to the good. That's the part that burns you.
I know, definitely. And especially, I know we were under immense pressure throughout the whole second half, but I felt like there was still a chance in it for us at the end where Martinelli had that counter attack. It was him, Trossard, and Saka had all the space, and he misplaced that pass. That's what killed me the most because I know that they had that chance with the keeper where Konate came in and Ramsdale made a brilliant save off the line. But this play happened after, so had we gone and just scored that, that would have just been the icing on the cake to just a well thought out victory, and it was just one misplaced pass away from it. That's what killed me the most.
Yeah. It was like hair. I know he's played the full 90 and he was running about all game. So I get it. He was probably fatigued. That layoff from Trossard was beautiful to set up Martinelli, right? But that pass was careless to put it the lightest. You cannot misplace that pass. 3-1? 3 against 1?
A lot of space. He could have played it anywhere really. Just he just overhit it. Like there was so much space to play it into. And Saka just running onto that with the left foot. You're expecting the finish right there. He just didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can't harp on Martinelli too much. He
He did
scored a
score.
goal and he got an assist. So hats off to Martinelli regardless. Good game as we expected. But that's what burns the most. That one chance. We did not have to let that through. And I think you even mentioned it right when Zinchenko is about to come off for Tierney for that defensive reinforcement.
Yeah.
The one chance beat him. Trent gets through him and gets the assist from that. So one chance, really and truly, we just needed to lock up shop.
Yeah. And how ironic, right? We piss on Trent almost every episode. And we don't do so much for Zinchenko, but he's just as much of a defensive liability, right? There's no need for him to dive in there, you know. Especially, I'm sure he knew he was going to come up, right? That's been the trend. Arteta takes off Zinchenko for Tierney to shore up defensively, so he must have known that he was about to come off. There's no reason to dive in there. Just hold off. No, don't make any stupid mistakes, which he's just done. And I think he knew how badly he messed up. I mean, you saw him on the bench,
That's what I was
right?
about to say. I was about to say you could definitely see that he knew when you saw his facial expression afterwards.
Yeah.
But
But
as you say,
again,
it's sad. He could have just had that decision making to be his experience to just shepherd him out.
yeah, that's all he needs to do. So, but I think there's only one person for a man of the match, right?
Who you
Ramsdale.
thinking? I mean, a lot of people been saying that. Yes, excellent. But I like Martinelli too. I know we just got on him for the misplaced pass, but goal and assist. And then Jesus had a good game too, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking. I have a feeling that come end of May, you're going to be looking at the pass for Martinelli with possibly, I don't know, who knows, but you could be looking at that misplaced pass with a lot of regrets. Not just from you, but from the player himself. So I know it's very harsh to be picking on a guy who scored and provided one, but I would be so vexed if I were you right now because that was a golden chance.
I definitely am. I mean, that's what burned the most. But I want to ask though, would it be fair then to ask the same question about Ramsdale? Could we be looking back at that and saying, wow, that point was crucial?
You could be, yeah. And at the end of the day, it's all about how the game ended, right? If had that chance never came and the game ended with the Konate chance, we would all be sitting here saying, wow, Ramsdale with a crucial point. We might be looking at the end of May with with even bigger implications than what we have right now. So, of course, yeah. But what happened after that? Something very bad for you. So, it's always the narrative is going to be shifted towards that because that's how the game ended.
Right. So as far as Arsenal's title credentials go at the moment, as you say, as much as it feels like a loss, I'm not too worried because we still have the City match where
Just need to avoid
even if we,
defeat.
or even if we don't win, let's say we don't win and we lose, then we can still go to Newcastle and get a point out of that. I'm comfortable with that. So it's not too bad.
Well, I mean, if City win their game in hand and they beat you, they go above you with
Because right now the points is what, 6?
6 points difference with
6, and
City.
they have the game in hand.
Yeah, so if they win that game, it's 3 points. They beat you, no difference in points, just goal difference. So
We really need to just avoid losses in both games.
mainly City, yes.
Yeah. Which I think we can do. But I'm worried, of course, but I'm not as worried as I thought I would be.
Yeah.
Pre-match.
Yeah, Arsenal, I think overall played all right. I mean, they had a flying start to the game. Of course, when you go to Anfield, you go 2-0 up. Your mindset's going to be a bit more defensive, try to hit them on a counter. And they did look threatening on the counter. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point to end off the episode for today.
That's all we have time for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. Remember to subscribe, to leave comments, and share with your friends. Follow us on social media at FOTBpod. Don't forget to leave a review, rating, and most importantly, don't forget to turn on those notifications. Join us again next time as we discuss the highly anticipated upcoming Premier League action. Thanks again as always. See you then.